My name's Lucy Harmer and I'm a Feng Shui and space clearing consultant and specialise in transformative and inspirational living. And you can reach me on my website. I'm happy to answer any questions on lucyharmer.com. I'm here in Montenegro for my second official, I would say, dry fast with Dr. Filonov and his wonderful team of therapists. And I wanted to share some of my experience with dry fasting and also my healing journey to do with Lyme's and Epstein-Barr. Now, if you want to know all the details about the beginning of my story, you're welcome to look me up on the videos on the Dr. Filonov's official website, which is Health Universe. They've got a YouTube channel, website, and they have really good detox programs you can do at home and retreat programs as well. And last year on the retreat, I did a whole series of videos every day and told my entire kind of life story. So this is a very shortened version because I want to talk about what it's been like, the results of my dry fast last year and what it's been like with this fascinating journey of dry fasting. So to make it short, I had undiagnosed Lyme's and Epstein-Barr for 15 years. And then since I found out, the last 5 years, I've concentrated on all kinds of healing modalities, from crazy things from seeing healers and shamans and taking natural medicine, herbs and homeopathy. And some of it has really helped. And also allopathic medicine, so antibiotics, which also really helps. But after I finish my 5 weeks of antibiotics, or I finish my 6 months of homeopathy, and I feel great for a few months, and then slowly all the symptoms have come back. So last year I decided I couldn't just continue taking antibiotics every 6 months for the rest of my life. And I tried doing, it's called la cure breuse, which is a water and with 1 small glass of juice fast, which is beetroot, celery, carrot, black radish and potato for 38 days I did. Now, the interesting thing with la cure breuse, the Dr. Breuse used this method and helped cure 45,000 people in Switzerland and Austria of cancer. And I thought, okay, if it can work for cancer, maybe it can work for Lyme and Epstein-Barr. And whilst I was doing that fast, I read everything I could get my hands on about fasting. I ordered every single fasting book on Amazon, and I ended up reading the most amazing book called Starving to Heal in Siberia by Michelle Slater. And if you want to be inspired about dry fasting and Dr. Filonov's technique, I'd highly recommend reading that book. And whilst reading that book, I realized that, well, la cure breuse works for cancer as a cure because cancer is fed by sugar and protein, and that's what you're removing doing la cure breuse. But for Epstein-Barr and Lyme's, the bacteria and viruses, they're fed with sugar and water. Thus the dry fasting. So if you do dry fasting and you remove the water element, and obviously you're removing sugar because you're not eating, but that's how you actually really start to see a result in terms of healing Lyme's and Epstein-Barr. So after la cure breuse, I phoned up Dr. Filonov and then did some of the prep, and then did a 9-day dry fast in Montenegro in October last year with the most amazing results. And if you want to see my day-to-day of what it was like, please go on the Health YO Universe channel and check out my videos. And there's also lots of other wonderful people talking about their own dry fasting experience. So last year, at the end of the 9-day dry fast, all my symptoms to do with Lyme's and Epstein-Barr completely went. No more tingling, no more rustiness, I wasn't woken up anymore at night every 3 hours with kind of jabbing pains in the bones. 50% of my sort of veil that I had with floaters due to a number of eye operations completely went, and my eyesight improved 50%, and that hasn't changed. So a year later, my eyesight in my left eye has improved by 50% after that 9-day dry fast. And so all my Lyme's, Epstein-Barr symptoms completely went. I felt I was a new woman, and I had a lot more energy. And it lasted, I'd say, at least 6 months, and sort of 7-8 months, all the symptoms started to kind of come back. So I thought, okay. I also did, I was recommended by Dr. Filonov to do another long dry fast at home within 3 months, and I did one again in January. But I recently reread all my notes that I took because Michelle Slater happened to be on the retreat, the dry fast retreat I did last year, and she gave the most wonderful yoga and also talks about her fasting experience. And I realized that in terms of getting rid of Lyme's and Epstein-Barr, one of the important things seemed to be, because of Lyme's has got this weird cycle of kind of a 28-day sort of reproductive kind of cycle, that it would be best to try to do 2 long dry fasts within a month. So this time I did, well, first of all, I can't stress how important the preparation is. So I did in August, I did the 3-week preparation on the Health Universe channel, which is brilliant. And actually, I ended up with the preparation at one point when I was taking the sorbent or enterogel. I ended up it was 30 degrees outside, but I ended up shivering under my duvet for like 3 days. So I was obviously detoxing something, definitely. And then I did an 8-day dry fast at home, which the dry fast itself went really well. Reasonable amount of energy, no nausea. I find if I've properly prepared beforehand, I have very little nausea actually dry fasting. But then my period started a good week early. It turned up on day 6, and 6, 7, 8 I kind of had sort of flooding, and on day 8 I kind of felt faint and very weak, so I decided to exit the dry fast. But my feeling is probably I exited it actually, but I was on my own. That's one of the advantages of coming on a retreat like this with Dr. Filonov, because the medical staff is brilliant and the therapists are really good, and you get the encouragement that you need if you need to kind of stick it out. But I phoned my Swiss medical doctor on day 8, and he's totally supportive of fasting. And we discussed it, but because I was bleeding so much and feeling so weak, I did exit on day 8. But I think I probably exited it right on my second acidosis crisis. And I ended up having 2 weeks of intense nausea on exit. It was a very difficult exit. And even another week after that with no energy, flu-like symptoms, and nausea as well. So luckily, I've just kind of got my energy back 3 days before I started dry fasting for this retreat. So I'm on day 4 of my dry fast, the second day of the retreat. And actually today's a good day. I've got a lot of energy. Yesterday I was tired because of the traveling. But today, no, I've got no nausea. I've got a lot of energy. Of course, my mouth, you can probably hear it a bit, but my mouth's starting to go dry, and my lips, they're sort of sticky today, and they'll be really dry tomorrow. But that's like just normal symptoms of dry fasting. And today's the first day, I think, of this fast where actually my Lyme's and Epstein-Barr symptoms are starting to fade away, like the rustiness is kind of going. I was really disappointed after the 8-day fast I did at the beginning of September that my Lyme's and Epstein-Barr symptoms hadn't gone. But the thing is, so this is what's really interesting. The older we are, the more there's all sorts of things going on in our bodies. And the thing about dry fasting is that the body kind of knows what it needs to sort out. And of course, my mind is just focused on healing from Epstein-Barr and Lyme's. But the fast I did in September, one of my friends said, but Lucy, maybe it's put another 10 years of life expectancy on your life, you know, because it's cleaned out some other thing that I had that I didn't even know that I had. So I'm just learning to trying to be gentle with the body, and also to appreciate how magical the whole healing process is. So I'm sure that it cleans some, or maybe it was cleaning out I'm in pre-menopause at the moment, so maybe it was just cleaning out a whole load of premenopausal issues that I didn't even realize that I was going to have. And the body just decided to focus on that. So I'm hoping that this fast, the body's going to focus on really going after all the virus and bacteria in my terrain, so that I can properly heal this time round. But I realise that it's a whole journey, and you don't just heal with one dry fast, but actually it's a whole. Some people do, though. Actually, some people do, but a lot of them tended that, because some people last year absolutely healed from Lyme's and Epstein-Barr with just one dry fast retreat, and some people healed from long-term COVID with just one retreat. Generally, they tended to be younger, and people like me that are slightly older, I think, need maybe more steps in their healing journey. So I will tune in with you again in a few days or near the end of the retreat, and let you know how the retreat went, and also any insights that I have. But thank you for listening. I'm on my second day of what they call exit, which actually means I had my first sip of water yesterday after 9 full days of dry fasting. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my experience, of my whole experience here. And I came here to heal from Lyme's and Epstein-Barr. And I am terribly pleased that on my 8th day, all my Lyme symptoms, my rustiness in the joints, all the tingling that I used to get in the arms, being woken up at night by deep-seated sort of jabbing pains, everything's gone. So I'm absolutely thrilled. This dry fast was actually, some of it was sort of kind of easy, and I thought, oh yes, this is going to be, because I've done it before, it's going to be the same. But actually some of it's similar, because your body behaves in a similar way when you dry fast, and some of it was completely different. The actual dry fast itself at the beginning was fine. The difficulty with dry fasting is mainly your throat that becomes so dry, and also the lack of sleep. And I had on it was the night between 6th and 7th day, and then the following night between 7th and 8th day, I spent the entire night vomiting up bile. One night it was just white, and then the next night it was yellow, which is a lot of toxicity leaving the body, especially to do with the cleansing of the liver. And actually it was after that, the second night of vomiting up yellow bile, that in the morning suddenly I felt that like all my Lyme's symptoms had gone. And obviously I was extremely tired. Day 9, my throat just got drier and drier, and you can even hear my voice is slightly croaky today because I haven't quite got my voice back. So on the night of so the early morning of day 10, I was very pleased to come out of the fast, especially as it was the full moon. And so I came out very early at around 4:30. I had a shower because I was starting to feel really weak. And last year when I exited, my first sip of water, I started trembling so much that for 3-4 hours I couldn't do anything. So this time I had a nice shower beforehand, put on some lovely clean clothes. It was wonderful. And then I lit a candle and I sat out just as the full moon was still shining on the sea in the early mornings. It was beautiful. It's a very special moon. It's a super moon in Aries, which is also about concentrating on what you want and your thoughts. And I picked a card, and I've got with me, these are Rebecca Campbell's cards, the Healing Waters. And the card I picked is thank you, gratitude, appreciating what's sustaining you. And it was such a perfect card because in the little booklet, it's all about how water is the water of life, and it's the essence of what gives us energy and what sustains us, and to give thanks for all the water that we have around us, the water that we drink, the water we shower with, the water that we have, the rain that feeds the plants and nature. And also it was about giving thanks, not just for the waters, but also for the loved ones in our life. So that I sat there with my wonderful little message and card, my little lit candle, and I took my first sip of water, and it was absolutely divine. And the interesting thing is that when you sip your water, probably the first 5 mouthfuls, you don't even swallow. It's like you take a sip of mouthful a sip of water in your mouth, and like your whole just mouth just absorbed the water. It's gone. You don't even get to swallow. Probably, I don't know, maybe the 6th or 7th sip, I just slowly started to swallow, and it was absolutely beautiful. And the interesting thing is that in the whole process of dry fasting, so there's sort of 3 miraculous days in dry fasting. The first one is on day 3, because on day 3, the body's used up most of the water that's found anywhere, like for inflammation, etc. And thus actually as it's absorbed the water, then there's no bacteria that can kind of stay there, because it's the body's absorbing all the pockets of sort of stagnant water in the body. So on day 3, the body thinks, gosh, I need water. So what does the body do? The lymph starts converting your fat into water. Fat can be converted into sugar or water, and it converts 1 kilo of fat into 1.2 litres of water. And that's absolutely amazing. So slowly you've got your whole internal system of water that's set up within the body. And then when you arrive on day 7, the body's actually absorbed all the old water that it has before, that was available. And on day 7, you're only living with this wonderful internally pure water that your body's actually created. And the really interesting thing about that is, because I'm a space clearing consultant, is that any kind of energy sent through the etheric, like you think something of someone, or you throw a label at someone, or somebody's jealous at you and sends a lot of jealousy or envy, or what we call psychic attack, which is constant thoughts or negative thoughts that are being sent to someone, or anything like curses, or most magical black magic, curses, etc. 80% of those are actually 80% are created on the etheric level, and the etheric level gets lodged in the physical body in the water structure. So on day 7 of dry fasting, your entire old water structure no longer exists. So you're completely free of any kind of psychic attack or jealousy or negative thought process. You've actually got your own new, complete, vibrant water system. And it's absolutely amazing. And what it means is that then you can start focusing on the things that you really want in your life. And then the 3rd magical day, or actually I should say magical night, because apparently I was told it happens between the night of day 9 and the morning of day 10, is what they call it a healing crisis, or your second acidosis crisis. And I hadn't really been aware of anything like that. I was thinking, I don't even know what this healing crisis is all about. It's not something that I ever was aware of last year. And apparently quite a lot of people can go through it without being aware of kind of what's happening. But on my day, so on the night before I exited, it was about 2:30 in the morning, and I was wrapped up in bed, kind of nice and warm, and suddenly I felt like all my cells became kind of warm, like hot, very hot, but not excessively hot, but just like snugly warm and kind of tingling, like everything, like I could sort of feel like all my cells kind of wake up and become alive. And it was the most amazingly heartfelt moment. It didn't last long, maybe 5-10 minutes, something like that, but it but I kind of felt, yes, this is the sort of new me that's being born. So there you are. Thank you very much for listening. I'm on my 3rd day of refeeding after a 9-day dry fast. And today, the tiredness is slowly going, although I've been waking up every 2 hours in the night going, water! And then I kind of have to have like a sip of water. I think I've drunk about 9 litres of water in 3 days so far. And but I kind of feel my body's like slowly relaxing, and I feel like I'm reclaiming my light again. That's how I feel today. And also today I was thinking about how the whole healing journey is unique to everyone. And my own kind of healing journey to do with Lyme's and Epstein-Barr has been a very long journey. And on the Health Universe website or YouTube channel, you can see my videos from last October, when I also did a dry fast here. So I'm not going to get into all the information about all of that. But just to say what was really interesting, so last year it was like I did sort of 3 months of prep, and I did a water juice fast with like a small glass of beetroot, carrot, celery, black radish and potato juice, which is called la cure Breuse, which is actually a cancer cure in Switzerland and Austria. 45,000 people cured of cancer with la cure Breuse. But you have to do it long enough to get past what they call your second acidosis crisis, which for most people is between day 21 and day 40, and I had mine at day 30. So I did 38 days. So it was quite a struggle. But whilst I was doing that, of course, sometimes I'm a little bit of a nerd. So I read every single book I could find on fasting, wet fasting, dry fasting, everything. And I came across, of course, Michelle Slater's absolutely fabulous must-read book, Starving to Heal in Siberia. And I suddenly realised, that's when I absolutely realised, in order to cure Lyme's and Epstein-Barr or any kind of bacterial or virus infection, you absolutely need to remove sugar and water, because that's what feeds the viruses and the bacteria. Whereas the cure Breuse works for cancer because you're removing sugar and protein. Of course, dry fasting also works for cancer because you're also removing sugar and protein, and that's what feeds the cancer. So I did then, I phoned up Dr. Filonov, and I researched all sorts of different places that did dry fasting, because I thought, do I really want to go to Siberia, right? Or do I want to come to Montenegro, which is a much better option in terms that the beach is absolutely fabulous, and the weather, I think, is far more clement than Siberia. And the nice thing I liked about, first of all, Dr. Filonov, was that with the initial consultation, when I said, could my husband join me on the Zoom call, he said, yes, you can join as many family members as you want to ask questions. And I found a lot of websites in Switzerland and France often say, if you're going to be doing dry fasting, do not tell your relatives or family what you're going to be doing. And actually, my husband was so reassured that, yes, he could ask questions. Actually, I think it's really important that your close family, your support network knows actually what you're doing. So I'd say any website that says, be careful, don't tell anyone about what you're going to do is not the right place to go and sign up to do a dry fast. So anyway, so I did the prep, right? I came to Montenegro last October, and first of all, my eyesight in my left eye, all the floaters I had like this grey veil, disappeared by 50%. So I've like my eyesight in my left eye improved by 50%. And I've got a feeling that this time it's also improved a bit more, so maybe another 20%, which is fabulous. And at the end of the dry fasting retreat last year, I had no more Lyme's or Epstein-Barr symptoms at all. And I thought, great, I'm healed. Yes, I've got my life back. So of course, being me, I tend to throw myself into everything. And since I'd done 7 months or 8 months of kind of, different fasts, preparation, etc., I was like, oh, I just want to live. And of course, right after my 21-day exit or refeeding, which is like the minimum refeeding, right? The best period, like, that you should really treat yourself in a loving way in terms of refeeding is 2 months after a 9-day dry fast. But 21 days is sort of like the real minimum. So as soon as I'd finished my 21 days sort of refeeding, of course, I went off traveling, first to the States, and kind of, because I thought I was healed, I guess all the information that Michelle Slater's got in a book, in fact, some of the things she said not to do is probably what I did, because I kind of got hooked on ice cream again and Cape Cod potato crisps, and I enjoyed my life. And then slowly, what happened is I had no symptoms for 6 months, and then kind of in the 7th month, everything started creeping back. And I thought, what am I going to do? So I thought, okay, well, at least it's worked, for an amount of time. So I signed up to do a second dry fast this October. In fact, I would absolutely tell anyone that's going to attempt to dry fast, not to dry fast more than, say, 4 days, 3-4 days, or maybe 5. But actually, I think 4 days is the safest if you're going to attempt it at home. And if you're going to try a long dry fast, there is nothing better than being in a place where you have the proper medical team, the proper supervision, and also the right kind of accompagnement, the right kind of like healing techniques. And because every day here on the dry fast, we've had different types of, I wouldn't call it massage, because one, it hurts like anything, and I keep having to say soft, 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 but then I've got a very low pain tolerance. Some people think it's great, but they kind of they've put all kind of my organs back into their right position, right, which actually feels really good. I feel like my spine's straighter. That's sort of reclaiming my light as well, which is wonderful. So, and then the other thing I want to say about this whole healing journey is, so some people last year, for example, that had Lyme's just did a 7-day dry fast or a 9-day dry fast, and they've been completely cured. And some people were like me, well, okay, it's part of a whole process. So, and also, of course, it depends on your environment, what kind of where you live, the kind of pollutions around you. Do you have a lot of 4G or 5G electromagnetic stress or pollution in your life, and the type of diet that you eat, etc. And all this is going to have a contributing factor to kind of what problems, and also everybody's metabolism is different, right? So the thing is, this process, this dry fast has actually been a real lesson on me in letting go. I'm not great at letting go. I've been listening to Fia's song about letting go, and a couple of other really nice songs about letting go, to try and get my mind to kind of let go and let be, and also just love. There's this wonderful exercise where you kind of love all the parts of your body, your arms, your fingers, your hands, you know, your back, like every part of your body, like really kind of love it and trust that the body is it's awesome in its way that it heals itself, and it's going to heal itself on its own timing and its own agenda, its own it's got its own sort of list of priorities, that it's got things to sort out, and that actually kind of makes me quite excited for the next step on my healing journey. So this time I'm not going to head off traveling and eat lots of things that aren't technically brilliant for my body. I've actually decided that it's good to kind of build slowly on what's already been established. And one of the lovely friends here, actually, the nice thing about the retreat is there's a really nice bunch of people. So you get to meet some really special souls. And one in particular who was on the retreat with me last year, she really inspired me because she just took everything step by step. She did like just a 1 day fast every week. And I'm a pendulum person, right? And actually I've decided, okay, I'm going to do a little bit more like step by step, little by little, step by step. And I'm going to do 1 day of dry fasting a week, definitely. But I'm also looking forward to adding on maybe a 4 or 5 day fast, say in February, or just to kind of continue the whole amazing process. And the other thing I just wanted to say to you is in Switzerland and France, I don't know about other countries, but it's fashionable to do a fasting week. It's like, this is the new, what do you call it, a fad, or the new thing to do, right? So lots and lots of people that I know in Switzerland and France have all signed up to do a fasting week. So if you're going to do a fasting week and you only have 1 week, just go on a really nice water fasting week with walking in the mountains and or yoga, writing and water fasting. Because the thing about water fasting is that the exit or the refeeding, you can come out of the water fast in about 4 days or 4 or 5 days, and you've already exited, and and it's great. It's going to give you a really good, you know, like a mini reset and a great detox. Now, if you really want to go into some deep healing or some really good like prevention, like you want to get 10 years of extra life expectancy, then I'd say go for dry fasting. But I would choose, well, I can only highly recommend Dr. Filonov and his team and the Health Universe channel, which is absolutely wonderful. I mean, the team is Dr. Filonov. He's absolutely very knowledgeful. But he's also got a very gentle and genuine approach, which is great. And then of course there's the lovely Sveta, who's slightly frazzled because she does all the organising, but is absolutely delightful and answers your question, or anytime you have a question, within a couple of minutes. And what I would not recommend doing though is going on a week dry fasting retreat, because if you go on a week, because some people are running a week, or you know, it's like 8.5 days, so you can get home before you go to work on Monday. Now if you're going to do a long dry fast, it means even if you start dry fasting a few days before, okay, you're only going to get 2 days of refeeding. And 70%, as I learnt with my Cape Cod and ice cream experience, 70% of the refeeding and the healing, right, works within those 21 days and then the 2-month period when you exit. So if you're going to do a long dry fast, you really need to have at least 2 weeks in a retreat, and not like just a little mini week retreat, because it's so important, the accompagnement, the people that are helping you, and also Dr. Filonov and his team have been running retreats for over 60 years. So the whole, or thereabouts. So, but the whole process, right, they've really got it down to a fine art. So, and of course, I'm also very pleased to let you know that I don't have any Lyme's or Epstein-Barr symptoms at all. And I have a lot of hope that with my new rhythm that I'm going to integrate in my life, with my 1-day dry fasting week, and also obviously I'm a vegetarian and lovely plant-based diet, etc., without the ice cream, the potato cod, potato crisps, I'm going to actually maintain really good health. So I wish you all great health, and that you all may reclaim your own light.